Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie for those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind Sweden season 2 episode 1. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell and leave a comment down below. We're jumping straight into the pods. We see Carolina, who is 38, and she has gotten to the point where she's given up on her picture perfect future.
Ja, men alltså jag fyllde ju 38 för 2 dagar sedan. Jag vill ju liksom verkligen träffa någon och bilda familj. Nej, men det kanske inte blir att jag får barn eller nej, men jag kanske får leva själv. Men obviously så känner jag att jag är ju inte okej med den tanken. Och jag har en lilla syster som har 2 barn. Fy fan. Jag känner bara så här, nu är det min tur att få träffa min drömman.
Jag vill inte låta dryg. Absolut inte. Bästa vännerna, underbara kollegor och ett väldigt bra jobb. Världens finaste familj hemma. Men jag har inte någon att dela allt det där med. Så det är ganska...
Det var den lilla grejen liksom.
Now, as I was watching this connection, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. You're telling me this man is actually somewhat successful, it seems like. He's not a bum. He's interested in a woman who is a Thickums woman. We're going to get a mixed weight connection. And they're interracial. And we're getting this from Sweden? I was shook. I don't know where things are going to go between them. But I was like, I like to see this. What I don't like to see is Jakob's chapped lips. Sir, let's address that. But I like this connection so far. He starts to talk to other women and he has a really big deal breaker. He cannot be with women who have furry animals because he's severely allergic. So that weeds out a whole lot of people. And he's aware that people, you know, love their cats and their dogs. Ugh, keep that. But yeah, he's like, I'll actually die. So I need somebody who is okay with not having a pet. And he actually talks to Emily as well. And she's like, you know what? I don't need a dog in my life. It low-key made me sad that he was connecting with Emily as well as he was because I want to see where things go with Carolina. I don't know if things are going to be bad because at the end of this episode, it was looking kind of, for Jakob. Jakob is giving player vibes. We're going to get into that later. But as of right now, he says that Emily is his top pick. Fine. I think at this point, they are both viable options. So I think he'd be well suited with either one. Ola is 42 and he feels like he's finally in a place where he can be vulnerable with women because that has been a struggle for him in the past.
Jag är ju en småstadstjej liksom.
Ja, härligt. Bor utanför Stockholm bland hästhagar.
Ja.
Men då är vi 2. Jag känner precis likadant.
Låt oss först ta vad du jobbar med.
Nej, men det började som ett experiment om vad händer när man tar ett steg utanför normen. Det är allt ifrån kaffe, alkohol.
Oj, okej.
Ja, men jag testar ganska mycket just att ta bort saker som stör kontakten med mig själv. Och nu testar då att ta bort jobbet.
Millie and Ola do have an age gap, which they laughed about, but it is not a deal breaker for either of them. A deal breaker for me, though, is Ola's F-boy energy. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter that he's 42. Clearly, it doesn't end. All right? Why is this man talking about, because she was really focused on not wanting to move past the what do you do for a living thing, and it seemed like he was willing to breeze past it. She was like, no. Please expand. He says he's on a 6-month sabbatical, which he plans to extend for 6 more months. And then he says that he had been in 2 long-term relationships before, but he still struggled to find that like true love connection. You were in long-term relationships with them. So you're a time waster. You're non-committal. Your job is in question right now. F-boy energy. And the gag is, a woman earlier in this episode called him an F-boy, and he was so offended. No, sweetie. You're telling me all those things on top of the fact that you were 42 and only just now deciding it is time to be vulnerable with women. Get out. Get out. Oscar is 29, and he says that he has never made a good first impression. Baby, that is a severe understatement.
Tvilling har jag ju kanske inte så jättebra erfarenhet av. Stjärntecknet tänkte jag på. Jag vet inte vad som är skillnaden på...
Alltså att jag har en tvillingsyster.
Skulle jag säga.
Ja, du märker mina ord.
Jag heter Amanda.
Jag vill nog kalla dig Mandis.
Helst inte.
Okej, det var ganska kul.
Men du skrattar ju inte. Att jag stöter bort de som jag egentligen hade velat gå på djupet med. Jag kan göra bort mig ganska många gånger första, men
Det låter ju döcharmigt måste jag säga.
Jag gör alltid ett dåligt första intryck. Och det är ju inte så charmigt att jag sitter och säljer in mig så.
He later on talks to a woman, I forget her name, but he says that he grew up in a family that wasn't very expressive, and so opening up is a challenge for him, and he's actually in therapy to work that out. Someone who doesn't care about Oscar's interesting statements is Alicia. She says that she tends to be happier in relationships, and so she would love to be in yet another one. I'm not gonna lie, it's giving pick me vibes. Yeah, because it makes me feel like she's gonna do whatever it takes to just say that she's married for the sake of being married, and not because she's finding like a very genuine connection, something fruitful, something long-term. It's just to say, oh, I'm with someone, therefore I am happy. I don't know, girl. She was also talking to somebody else. I forget his name. Ooh, let me see. Tim. And Tim says that he was a wild child growing up, and according to his mother, she was given Tim because of her sins, which to me sounds like he is also off-putting. Yet she is very intrigued by him. So I'm thinking, not only are you giving pick me vibes, you also love a problematic man. I worry for you, Alicia. I really do. We then meet Victor, who says that he has worked on himself and is trying to be a very good listener and be attentive to a woman's needs.
Min strategi för att hitta min livskärlek, det är lyssna. Ta med mig liksom vad kvinnor behöver, tjejer behöver. Det är att bli sedda och hörda. Jag är jättenära min familj liksom. Min syster är min bästa vän. Så det...
Jag är jätteglad. Det är, inte så, alltså det är tydligen inte så vanligt att man är så nära sina syskon.
Jag delar verkligen allting med min syster om det är så liksom. För att även om vi är väldigt olika, jag och hon.
Jag brukar säga det, min stora syster är min bästa vän.
You know, when he was talking about the whole, yeah, I have sisters and I'm a good listener, and I was like, ugh. Here we go. We hear this spiel all the time. You know, I'm very in tune with my emotions. I have sisters, so I know how women feel. That literally is not a direct correlation. But whatever. I thought we were going to get some foolishness from him, but he's actually all right in my book. He did a lot of asking, but also answering the questions, and he wasn't being evasive with his answering as well. I think he's a good match for, who was he talking to? Ooh, Natalie. Natalie also says that she loves listening. So I guess they have that in common. They both also lean towards being more introverted. They seem to be ambiverts, but more on the introverted side. So they might actually be a good match. Corinne is 35 and she's already exhausted with the Love is Blind process because she does not want to have to date all these men all at once. She likes order and she loves control.
Att dejta så här många killar på en och samma dag, det är brain freeze.
Jag är från Stockholm. Det brukar inte vara något positivt.
Men jag tycker det, för jag bor ju i Stockholm.
Du gör det?
Vad är viktigt för dig i ett äktenskap?
Det låter ju självklart, men jag tror inte att det är självklart i alla relationer. Jag menar att man ser varandra och kommunikation. Vill du ha familj?
Jo, men det vill jag. För mig är det liksom så kopplat till att träffa rätt person, liksom, att dela det med.
Jag har inte ens frågat vad du jobbar med, men det gör jag nästa gång.
Ja, men det tar vi nästa gång.
So in the pods, Nicholas seems like he presents very well. Corinne? I'll get it next time. She really loved his personality. She loved how outgoing he was, how attentive he was. And this is going to be common because a lot of women actually like Nicholas. The problem is, in his confessional, he makes it seem like he's only ready to get married because he's the last one. Everybody around him, family, friends, they're all married and he doesn't want to be left out. Not a good enough reason. Not at all. He also said that he doesn't have any expectations about physicality, which is good for Love is Blind. But when you couple up the whole, oh, I just want to get married because I'm the last one, it makes it sound like he's just going to settle with anybody who's keen to marry him. He also says that he tends to be impulsive. So you're impulsive. You really are okay with anybody who shows interest and you're just trying to do it so you're not last on the list. It's not looking good. The more we get to know Ola, the more I'm starting to see why this man has been so unlucky in love for so long.
Vad fint.
Ja, jag hummar mycket. Tycker du om att vara aktiv? Alltså när du är på semester, tycker du om att vara aktiv? Jag äter ju inte jättemycket godis dock.
Såklart du inte gör. Alltså jag har ju aldrig varit på ett gym.
Oj.
Är det en dealbreaker? Jag vet inte vad jag skulle göra där. Okej, inget socker.
Jag äter inte mycket. Alltså...
Jag hörde vad du sa. Jag älskar kombon Coca-Cola och rödvin.
Oj.
Ola lives a very regimented life, which isn't a problem. But if you love nature so much, you love working out, you love being a health nut and whatever, I would assume you'd want a partner who at least takes an interest in those things. Millie has never been in a gym. I don't know if she was being sarcastic, but she doesn't live as active of a life as he does, clearly. She's also into the Real Housewives or just reality TV in general. And to me, it felt as if Ola was going to be judgmental when it came to that. I think he needs somebody who is on his level. Otherwise, he's going to... Well, I was going to say maybe he will feel like he's too good for Millie. But then Millie turns around and she says that she likes men who are smarter than her. And so maybe she likes that dynamic. I'm not sure. I'd be careful because sometimes the person who's smarter than you will end up acting like a smart ass. So girl, I'd be careful about that. Then we see this man talking about he has this special rock or crystal. And I guess the crystal has feelings. Because as he was talking about the crystal, the producer was like, oh, could you say that again and hold it up? He's like, no, the crystal doesn't want to be shown anymore. Actually, it has shut down now. I said, not the crystal got an attitude. Not the crystal got an attitude. And then this man is back in the men's quarters talking to, I forget the guys, but talking to the guys saying that, you know, don't run away from strong emotions. You need to face them head on and be in tune with yourself. And he does this moaning thing and he's giving, oh, I want to be a healer. I want to be a guru. I want to be, yeah, it's just not giving. And you mean to tell me the same man who took 42 years to now be vulnerable with women is telling other people that they need to face their strong emotions? Ola, get out. Jakob's top picks are Emily and Carolina. Even though he says that Carolina seems to be more prepared for marriage and life on the outside, he is still intrigued by Emily.
För att det är en jobbig sak. Kanske berättat detta om 3 månader eller 6 månader. Det hände en väldigt jobbig, hemsk upplevelse när jag var 15. Jag hamnade i helt fel gäng. Började med droger. Vill inte skrämma iväg dig, Emily. Det vill jag verkligen inte.
Alltså jag blir inte rädd. Alltså det är ju din historia. Att jag liksom förstår dig ännu bättre.
I'm glad that Jakob was willing to speak about his past, right? But the way that he was saying it was like, oh, there's more to the story. And we do learn that there is so much more to the story. He's kind of letting her know like, oh, I don't really tell people this, meaning you're important to me. I see a future with you because I wouldn't tell this to just anybody. But then we later find out that he tells the whole story to somebody else. So I was like, Jakob, I don't know about you right now. Emily then tells him that she's so happy he confided in her, which is great and all, but he ends up having a conversation with Carolina and he promises to confide in her about some life-changing story. We know what the story is, but he's going to go into more detail, right? And this comes off the heels of her telling him that in previous relationships, she used to feel invisible. And so she just came out of a date where I think she said that to the person and maybe they didn't receive it well. And Jakob received it very well, so much so that he decided he was then going to get vulnerable about something else. And he says the reason why he feels comfortable to be vulnerable in that way is because he's going to marry her. Nicholas says that he is struggling with all these connections that he has to maintain. But sweetie, I know Love is Blind has all these singles that come in and you don't even know who you're talking to half the time, but that doesn't mean you have to keep every single option available.
Det är så svårt att ta beslut när allt går så fort. Vi snackar med Niklas.
Min favorit.
Det är ändå liksom dig som jag faktiskt har tänkt på.
För att jag kände så här att jag verkligen gillar dig.
Men samtidigt är man rädd för att välja bort någon på vägen för att jag kan välja bort fel liksom.
Har du haft en bra morgon?
Jag har haft en lite jobbigare morgon. Men vilken person är min person liksom?
Nicholas says that he does have ADHD. He doesn't really explain how severe it is. However, it does explain the indecisiveness, the disorganization, the impulsiveness. Like that is some added context as to why he is the way that he is. Now, you could see that, who was he talking to? Karen? You could see that she was starting to feel some kind of way, and he's like, listen, I am not a write-off. I can still be a great partner. I just need that grace. And it sounded like she was willing to give him that grace. However, back in the women's quarter, she wasn't feeling good. She had this gut feeling that maybe she shouldn't proceed with things because their personalities are different, their lifestyles are different. Their connection is great, but the connection is not just like, it's not good enough. Your lives actually have to be able to meld together. And I think maybe she sees him as a bit of a flight risk. And baby, if your gut is telling you to walk away, walk away. Don't make a situation worse than it is by going into something that you're not even certain about, unless your uncertainty at least leads towards positive. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but I have good vibes. Instead of, I'm not 100% sure and it's mainly because I don't think this is going to be a good idea, then don't do it. Jakob makes good on his promise to Carolina to open up about his life-changing story, and as I thought, it is way deeper than what he initially said.
Du är den första som jag faktiskt kommer att berätta detta för så djupt. Jag vet inte riktigt varför jag tog taxi den dagen. Låsa dörrarna och ta fram en kniv. Men jag ser en lucka liksom. Jag får till en drömträff.
Du är så modig.
Men sen så går det väl ganska mycket ut för efter det. Jakob, jag har levt med bröstcancer i båda mina bröst. Och du tar sån här skit och förstör allt för oss. Och det är väl därifrån som jag har byggt upp mitt liv efter det. Att
Jag respekterar dig något enormt för att du väljer att öppna upp dig för mig.
In Jakob's defense, he did say in the conversation with Emily, he was not prepared to have that deep of a conversation. And so maybe he needed some time to think on things, to marinate on the story, to see if he really was in a place to share before he shared. And so fine. However, I still believe if he wasn't going to go all the way with the story, then actually, no, I'm not even going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Because why didn't he tell Emily the same thing he told Carolina, whatever her name is, child. Hey, I want to tell you something. I just need some time to think on it. I'm going to tell you tomorrow. Or I would like to tell you tomorrow if our connection is still, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were not ready, you could have slept on it the way you slept on it with Carolina. I think it's very telling that he chose to tell Karina that and not Emily. So of course, did I say Karina again? Of course, Carolina is like, happy that her connection is going as well as it is, that they've basically committed to each other at this point. And in the women's quarters, she's telling the women, Emily at this point doesn't even know that it's her man, and she's like, oh, I'm so happy for you, oh, this is so exciting. And then she starts to put two and two together, and she's like, wait a minute now, that sounds like my man. And so she doesn't say anything to Carolina, but she goes back into the pods with Jakob and she plans on confronting him about it. The man looked stressed. Okay? Stressed. And I'm here for it. Ooh, this is the kind of drama that I like. How are you going to get out of this one, Jakob? Explain yourself. You're fully committing to somebody else, but you're also saying that I'm your number one. Crazy. You can't have it both. So we'll see how Jakob works his way out of this messy situation. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.